we're going to do here first, we're going to take this piece here, we're going to trim it, because what we want to do is what I used to do in taxidermy, and it's called modifications of form. Okay, so see, I sculpted this piece here out of clay, kind of a rough mold, and this will show you guys it's just kind of like a basic thing here where I can take the techniques and skills that I've learned in one art and apply it to another. Thankfully this is soft enough clay to cut and carve it. Now all I'm going to do is, so that's a pretty thick block of clay. Now I'm the Terminator here on the figure right here. What I've got to do is line that up with this portion here. Let me put that up there. I actually want to turn this just a little bit better so it's not. There we go, we're not distracted by things in the background. Okay, so I'll have to forgive me. I'm working in the house today. It's kind of a cold weather situation outside, so it's easier to work in the house. My objective is to take the piece I've sculpted in clay, line it up with this, then I'll remove this portion, put that in there, and then sculpt into it with additional clay over here. So, all I'm doing here is I know that the corner of the eye has to go into the corner of the eye here. So I know I'm going to mark a line right there for about where I think I want the cut to be. Because what I'm going to do is just shave this down. And not only do I have to cut this down to a sizable portion, I also have to trim in the back side of it as well. Also, put that in there. And that may or may not be too big. I don't know. We'll find out whether that's going to be too big or not. That might want to keep that. Let's see. You cut too far back, you'll cut some of the pieces off the back here that need to go in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that back on there. Right there. Let's see, I shaved that off. I'd actually cut through it. So see, those mistakes you can make doing this. And they're not, they're easy fixed. Not a big deal. What I want to do though, is I want to make a mold of this in silicone. So when I do a clay 4, and that's why I said I'm doing this thing here to put this in and hopefully get it balanced just right. And because see, I've got the line markings here that I made for the eyebrows displacement, right? And I have to line this up because see, that's where I think the bridge of the nose is, and that's where the first eye line is right there, and then there's the second. So technically this wants to lay over, but I don't want that much cut out. So see, I've sculpted this portion in here to represent it, but I'm only only going to do a small portion of it, the actual representation. And that's just a visual guide that I've got for where I want it to place. Thinking that, okay, it's one off. Now, if I have this just about shaped, just about right, see if I can smooth this out a little bit, trim it down a little bit more. I don't want it to be too awkward, and I don't want it to be too misshapen. This may or may not be too big. That's the trick. We're going to find out real quick here whether this is going to be too big or not. Okay. So what we're looking at, lay that over there. We're looking at cutting out, probably, got the tools over here. Take this portion right here. And based on this, I don't want to go so far up. I'll put that right in the eye socket. Then that will go just above there and trace around like that. And then that way I can have a close approximation of what I need to cut out. Okay. And of course that's going to come down here. We're going to start right here with this portion here and just cut that out. So this being hollow, I know it's going to look bad. But this is exactly how to do it. It's brutal. That's the same way that you did deal modifications on forms when you had taxidermy. Okay. And all you do is just make a cut right there. And I'm just going to make a box cut right here. Just to cut this portion out right here. And make sure. Now I can always go in, like I said, go in, add and take away as I need to. Make a mistake, you know, you can remold this and start all over again. But the trick is to try to get the exact same measurements on what you're doing as to the piece you're working with. Like I said, this is hollow. And that's the reason I cast these things hollow. So if I need to make modifications, I can do so. And I don't damage the work in the process. So we took that out. Ooh, look. He's missing an eye. Now, the thing is to shape this and make this fit and work right there. Alright. Well, this is where the trimming and stuff is going to come in. Because like I said, you know, I got those two guidelines to work with. And I don't really want to have to. And this is where I can take the model and the clay piece and actually do one or two things with it. Make sure that it's going to fit and it's going to work and it's going to look good. Okay, so that does fit, that does work. Looks okay. The hard thing about this camera stand, stupid thing, doesn't want to stand up right. One of those cheap Walmart stands. So I've got that eye, set that other side there. And there's just trim down this to fit what we want. Okay. To make sure that's going to fit right there. I'll have to shape this a little bit in the back. See, I've got this hole here, so just fitting it in the back is not going to be that big a deal. So I'm going to give you guys a close-up presentation on this so you can see everything. Now, just about. And it's the right shape. Take that piece off the back. Okay. Thing is, the square for block where it doesn't do it didn't do any damage. Okay. Took a good sized chunk off the top of this thing, just kind of shave it down to where it's fitting in there kind of nicely. Almost got it right where I want it to fit right here. Almost got it. Well, some people would say it'd be easier just to sculpt it in there, and of course it would. But to give you an idea, since I'd already made this thing, and I can put it in there and shape it up. I'll just clean it up. I'll just go back in here and just clean this up a little bit. Round out the cheeks a little bit. You gotta blend it in, make sure it doesn't, it looks natural. Because there again, we're gonna go back in there and do the the damaged part, you know, where it looks like the eye's been damaged. I'll probably have to rework the socket a little bit. Because like I said, this is not going to be a clean, crisp thing. This is just the eye with a little bit of damage poking out of the socket. And that's where I've got, like I said, the eyeball. And then the flange things that I made there. And that's why I wanted to do it this way, because I can do eye damage and details on how I want to do this. Because it doesn't necessarily have to have the entire chrome piece poking through here. I'll probably have to go back in on the inside here and rework these pieces. I'm going to pull that lid down just a little bit, like that. Kind of make that rough and a rough eye socket a little bit. Then of course you got the little lines that are in here. You gotta go back in and draw them in. Make those settle. Just trying to do mirror images off of what is over here. I'll just kind of smooth this out just to show you guys the whole thing is I've got a hole back here where if you look in the eye you can see all this back here as a hole. I take clay, because if I do silicone, then I got to fill that in. So, like I said, this is just rough. I'm going to have to restructure this. And I'm going to have to go in from the underside here. And inside. That's clay in behind there. That fills that little hole. Now, the trick on the eyeball part, remember? Let's roll it around like that and get it circular. Of course, I got to go in here and do some details with the eyebrows. A little bit more clay back there because I don't want it to, and see these just shaved bits that I can put back there. And make sure the holes are filled so I don't have to worry about. And then if I get a little bit more concerned about the underhangs and shit like that, I can just take clay, tamp it in there, fill it in. Make sure all that gets filled in. The only problem here is the eyeball itself. Not only is it a little out of whack, but it's crooked. It needs to be more centered. Push it over there in the middle. Where's the shape of that? Now, in general, I don't know if that's going to look too big, too bad, or not, but that's a rough estimate. And then, of course, I'll go back in here and just kind of do the damages and stuff like that how I want to. And then, of course, I can put some on the side of the head. I got to fill in a little bit over here, but that gives you a general idea of how I would do that. And just like I said, I sculpted it. It may be too high, I may need to lower it. Maybe too low, I'm not sure. Kind of see how that looks. So, that's just the start of the modifications.